apparently you can like lose sensation when you get it pierced, and that actually happened to me. I lost sensation in my nipple. I don't know about you.
I still feel.
I'm not even joking with you, but like I've had guys who like sucked on my nipples and they thought like I felt it and I didn't, and then I start bleeding.
Chemical X.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Chemical X podcast. I'm your girl, Alessia, who is actually not showing her tits today.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And
I'm Veronica. I don't really have that many tits to show, so we really bank on Alessia's views that we get from that cleavage. So I'm gonna be honest, next time you wear a fucking football jersey, call me first. Because I don't know, it comes out of our pay at the end of the day.
Or pay up what, $2? I'm sorry, we're getting $1 now.
$1.20, come on. People come to see our faces less, though. We don't lose that many views. What's up, guys? If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment down below, and rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And we're here, bitches, another week with us.
I know. Oh my God. So I feel really subconscious now that you told me I'm wearing a football jersey, but it made me think of a time where, first of all, if anybody doesn't know, Veronica and I both had nipple piercings once upon a time. I don't know. Do you still have yours?
Oh, tell everyone. Once upon a time, me and Veronica had nipple piercing.
Because we're besties.
I did it first, so don't even start
Here
with me.
we go. I didn't know you when I got mine.
I know, and you love to say, like, yeah, she got it after me.
Wait,
like, about other people, and I was like, yeah, well, I got it first, so.
How old are you when you got it?
I was 15 years old, and I went in with my sister's fake ID.
Okay.
And because you had to be, I think you had to be above 16 or 18 or something. And at the time, my sister was 18, and I went in with her fake ID, and I said, Tanya Rossi, yes. And I put my 12-year-old tits on the table, and they said, we can't pierce these.
They said no?
So the first place I went to rejected me.
Because they thought that the ID wasn't you?
No, they were like, you don't
Your tits are too small. Sorry, babe. Get out of here.
Honestly, pretty much. They were like, no, your nipple like doesn't stick out far enough when it's hard. Like it doesn't like stick out far
Just
enough.
when we think we have enough insecurities,
Yeah.
somebody gives you something else.
And also, I don't know if the piercing shop, they have fluorescent lighting. Like I was like, whoa. Like,
and it wasn't no Neonific.
Like it was like, can you close your eyes while you pierce? Like the fuck? It's actually more than seeing me naked. You're seeing my blood pumping through my skin.
So the second place you went to, we're like, finally, we'll do it?
Yeah, so the first place I went, they were just like, no, it doesn't stick out far enough. Like, it's going to migrate out. So I was like, no. I was like, okay, I'm insecure. Thanks, bye. I didn't
but
know
now
there was
you
something
go
wrong with
somewhere
me.
else and they say, yeah, we could do it. Are you trusting them?
Yeah, that was another thing. So I went to another place that was, like, known for, like, piercing them free.
Known for piercing these type of nipples. The outer nipples. I had the inner, you had the outer.
So I went to another place, but they were like more known because the first place I went to was actually a shittier place. So I felt like they were just like, no, like we're not going to do it. So I was like, okay, whatever. I went to this other place and they're a lot more like personalized with their piercing. And
Classic.
They were like,
we blame it on them. The shitty
%.
place.
Nothing wrong with me. And then I went to the next place and they were like, yeah, for sure. Of course we can do it. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, and I remember, and then he pierced, there was no problem. But I remember at the first place, she was trying to get my nipple hard. And I'm sitting on the doctor's bench. You know, you're even on the crunchy paper. I'm sitting on that thing and she's pinching my nipple.
No.
Just like this. Over and over again. And what do you say while they're doing
Why
that?
didn't she just like use ice?
Okay, what did you want to suck on them next? She's gonna give me
Trying to get
give me a little
sensation
kiss.
through your body. Well, I feel like if you just put ice, it'll just harden.
Yeah, but it was first of all, it was just like I don't know what was going on in that.
Anyway.
And I was like, babe, they're not gonna get.
So she decided to just flick your tits.
She was flicking my nips, and I was like, whoa.
And did it work?
No, because she rejected me, and I was like, okay, bye. It's just like they were getting hard, but she was like, not enough. And I was
Give
like,
us a
"Not
visual
bad."
what your nipples were really doing.
They were not good enough for her, let's just say. But good enough for some other people.
She
So
wasn't your type.
one man's trash is another man's treasure. So
Are you calling yourself a man? Safe to say my tits are normal, beautiful, everything worked
They
out.
said, come in.
I went on my lunch break right before my next class. I had an hour. I was like, fuck it. I'm a rebel. So I did it on my worst nipple because I always felt like it'll balance out my nicer nipple if I did it on my uglier one. Like everyone tends to do it on their better nipple, which is like false. You should do it on your uglier one because then the focus just becomes more balanced.
I know what you mean.
So that's what I did naturally. I did it on my uglier nipple and I fucking loved it. And I was contemplating getting both done. I always was like, I want both. But then I'm like, you know what? Like, I've never done this shit before. Maybe I'll start with one, you know? Like, apparently you can, like, lose sensation when you get it pierced. And that actually happened to me. I lost sensation in my nipple. I don't know about you.
I still feel.
Okay, cool.
You're like, is that a shot back?
I'm not even joking with you, but, like, I've had guys who, like, sucked on my nipples and they thought, like I felt it and I did it. And then I start bleeding and I don't feel it because it's like I lost sensation. Anyway.
Well, maybe you were the one they should have rejected on the table. Clearly it was your nip that wasn't good for piercing.
That's not what they said when I brought those jugs on the table.
They said, beauty, where, babe? Where?
So I was like talking to this guy for a while. We were like sleeping together. And he really was like, I don't like that nipple piercing. And I was like, shut up. Like, I love it. You know, when I like something, it's like, fuck off. But low-key, it makes you insecure, right?
1,000,000%.
Because, like, you told me you don't like it, and, like, I'm fucking you. So, like, do I need to remove it?
It's not like when I take my top off, are you rolling your eyes and, like, you know, trying not to look at my piercing?
Yeah, it was just really, like, at that stage where it's, like, I would find a guy who would be like, that's so sick. Like, it's so hot. And then I'd get, like, that random guy who's all tatted that you think is gonna fucking love it, who's like, take that off. It's disgusting. You're like, wait, where's my Travis Barker?
Wait, babe, I thought you were gonna love it. This is my punk phase.
Anyway, so I wake up in the morning and my nipple piercing is off. And I literally wake up and it's not I had it for like quite a while at this point. I didn't wake up and was like, where the fuck's my nipple piercing? And then like I see it on the stand only later on in the day and I'm like, and I call him and I'm like, did you take my nipple piercing off while I was sleeping? He's like, yeah, I couldn't stand it. I'm like, what? You removed my nipple piercing? I was so mad because it was like maybe a year and a half I had it. But if anybody knows anything about nipple piercings, what are we going to title this episode? Nipple piercings? If you know anything about nipple piercings, then you know like it's that one piercing that gets really infected really easy. No matter how much you like clean it, put salt, you do the whole shebang.
Pepper.
Salt and pepper. It still happens.
A bit of olive oil. We're good.
The Italian style. Anyway, Alain, maybe it's the fact that you didn't get a fucking gold one. Maybe that would be the problem. You were too broke for the gold.
No, but it's
nipple
true.
Piercing.
The nipple piercing, it's like, it's never really,
yeah.
It's never really healed.
And it's a bit scary to take it out. It's a bit weird to look at because you kind of have a hole. And it's one of those things that's very bizarre and weird to pop back in once you take it out.
Yeah.
And I think when he had taken it out, I didn't put it back in right away because I was influenced.
Yeah.
You know?
But also that shit closes in 14 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I could never get it back in. Never went back to re-pierce it. And that's kind of the story with my nipple piercing.
Well, first of all, I would have said transfer me $75 right now because that's how much it costs.
Veronica, I would have acted like it was real gold and said transfer me $500. Don't be fool. Make it
that's
till you make it.
Rude though.
Yeah. Hate him.
What the hell?
I hate a lot of men.
Yeah, well, he's on the top of my list now.
Yeah.
Don't touch my body while I'm sleeping. That's number one.
And it's really weird because, like, now I'm like, when did you do that when I was sleeping? Like, it feels really weird.
Yeah, it's also like, what else did you do while I was sleeping, bitch?
Yeah.
The thing about my nipple piercing is I eventually had to take it out because, remember, like I said, the first girl rejected me and she was like, no, it's going to end up migrating out. It's going to be too shallow.
Right.
And then I went to the other place who decided I was good. Well, it ended up, you know, migrating and it was like really shallow and you could see like the bar.
Oh, because you didn't have enough skin.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't like my nip wasn't like big enough. I
almost feel like we need to pop pictures of our tits.
Yeah, like am I supposed to show like like a tit pic so you guys can see what I'm talking about? But anyway, so it was too shallow and it would always like worry me because it was like one rip and that shit was flying out of my fucking nipple. And I thought it's like, oh, it's so sexy, it's so nice, but yet I'm hooking up with guys and I'm saying, don't fucking touch my nipple, don't even come near it.
Oh, you were the Susie,
I was like I needed to have a glass box around my tits, you know.
Gosh.
But I loved it though. It was so nice. But not willing to redo it. The pain was
I had no pain, honestly.
oh, you're perfect.
Yeah, I am.
It hurt me, I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, guys, let's get into this week's episode.
I don't know, where do you go from nips?
I don't know.
Well, actually, I just want to say, do you know what a Prince Edward piercing is?
No, and I don't want it.
Well, we're gonna get your natural reaction on the show right now, actually.
Ooh.
The show.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry.
This show has music? Yeah. I never considered this really a show until Mirko came on last week and he's like sitting down. He's like, wow, this really is a show. And I'm like, wow, we really come a long way. Like, this is a show we have here.
It's a show, baby. I'm just gonna say, like, just this. If I ever want to complain about a piercing hurting, Google Prince Albert piercing.
Ew! What is that? On the dick?
The tip of the dick. It goes through the penis hole, the peeing hole.
Do they pee
under?
But when you pee, like, is it going through the piercing?
I mean, I think it's probably going crazy. You know what I mean?
You're also showing me a dick that's circumcised. So how do they
circumcise? Well, I'm seeing options here, but they're all scaring me. I'm gonna be honest. This is even the size of the jewelry is just out of control, guys. If you want to traumatize yourself, Prince Albert piercing. Google it.
Okay. So this week's episode, we have a bunch of nothing written down. So I guess let's get started. Veronica, you can start speaking about nothing. I'll come in when I feel like I can say something about nothing.
Well, to be honest, on the roster of topics, we were discussing when you date the good guy. Like, and I think there's different kinds of good guys. I think there's like the fake good guy who's like pretends to be like such a good guy, but in reality he's actually a dick.
And then there's actually the good guy that everyone says, but Alessia, he's such a good guy. Like, he'll never cheat on you. Never say never.
So then there's that like real good guy that you end up dating, and you know, we love to go after the bad boys, but every once in a while a good cutie comes around and we give him a chance. And I have to be honest, I think it's the hardest relationship to break out of.
Well, you dated a guy who was like literally on paper such a good guy. And
in real life too.
In real life,
not just on paper.
Yeah, not just on paper, in real life too. And I was actually in your life. I think this is when we first started really becoming close. Yeah. You were having this discussion with me and you're like, Alessia, like, I don't know how to end it with him because he's done nothing wrong to me. He's such a good guy. I can't point my finger on one thing. Yeah. Which makes it so much harder because you're like, it's not you. It's just
actually me.
It's actually me. And everybody doesn't understand because they're like, he's such a good guy. Like, why would you? But he's sometimes so cute, there's missing that like oomph, that depth. That's something, that spice that you need for your relationship to work.
For sure. And I think that's where like it becomes problematic because sometimes the relationship just doesn't work because there's just no, and it's not even that we didn't have chemistry. Like, we had everything. Right. I just, at the end of the day, I wasn't in it anymore, and there was no reason for it to not work, but it just wasn't working. And that's the hardest thing because you're always like, almost looking for a reason at that point. You almost wish that they would do something wrong just so you could have the excuse to break up with them, because you can't even justify it to yourself. You're like, well, why do I want to leave them? He hasn't done anything wrong
and
to me.
That's the ones you really go, I'm gonna regret this because he's a good guy.
And that's another thing. You start going like, I'm never gonna find a guy like this again. Yeah. Like, this is
I've been there.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the hardest thing because you're almost trying to convince yourself that you want to stay with them, but you know deep down you're just not happy and you don't know why. And I'm gonna be honest, I find that's the hardest situation to be in, because it's always easier being the breakup-y or the person getting broken up with when you have a reason. It's always easier. Like when you're breaking up with somebody, oh, he cheated on me, I'm breaking up with him, or you know what I mean? Like,
or you've really like seen the relationship through and you've stayed together and you told each other what the problems were, and then you tried to fix it and then they still didn't, and then you're like, you're at peace with knowing like you did everything. But when there's a good guy and there's nothing really to point your finger, like you're saying, it's that much harder. And I think we need to normalize that even if nothing has happened and you're just feeling that way, then there doesn't need to be that excuse, that reasoning, you know? Like, there's so many guys I've talked to that I'm like, this guy would be perfect to date. He's exactly like, but I can't point my finger on it, but there's something that's not there. Whether it be like he doesn't have that like personality, or I know that being with that person, eventually I would be bored.
Yeah.
You know? Would make me start hating, resenting him. That
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he's a great guy. My family is gonna love him. Everyone likes him. But I'm gonna be miserable for reasons I won't be able to explain to anybody.
And that's the hardest part, because when you're dating that good guy, the hardest thing is that everyone around you is saying, but he's such a good guy, but he's such a sweetheart, but he's so cute, but he treats you so well. Oh, he's so cute. Are you sure? Like, and it makes it even harder, because you're like, everyone likes him, your whole family likes him. There's like not one existing problem. Like, I swear it was so unproblematic that I was like, the problem is there's not enough problems. You know what I mean? Like, you start trying to go on to anything to like try to find an issue, because you can't even explain to yourself, because I think that makes it hard when you can't even like comprehend your own feelings. Like, people need something to blame. At the end of the day, that's how it always is. We need a reason to cling on to. Even when getting over somebody, we need that reason to be like, okay, fuck them, or I hate them. It just makes it easier. And even breaking up with somebody too, like, babe, it's not working. Well, why? What did I do? I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so hard.
I think also it's a huge part about like discovering also who you are. And you could be like, I have friends who have been in relationships for so long, since high school sweethearts, you know? And there could be nothing wrong. Their relationship could be great, because it's all they know too, right? And sometimes, you know, you need to break up with the good guy just because you need to experience life on your own, and you need to go through things to be able to be like, I had a good guy, but I want more. Or how do you know if you don't really experience, right? And I think that's when a lot of people will be like, he's a good guy, but there's always that like what if that could go through your head. And I think living life on what if is actually like the worst thing in the world. Like, you're never gonna break up with a good guy and then eventually regret it, I don't think, because so many other things happen after that. Experiences.
I don't think so either. At all. I think also, like you said, I think we need to like normalize not having a reason to break up with somebody. And especially in like these good guy relationships, it usually drags on for so long, because you're just waiting for a reason. You're waiting for a reason to come up, and you just keep like, okay, but he's such a good guy, so like I'm gonna stay. And it's one of those things that drags on. Like, I can say in my relationship like that, it dragged on for so long, almost 2 years, because I was just kept waiting to either like find the spark or to find a reason to break up with him. Like, I just kept waiting on that moment, and then it never came, and it was really hard, and I had to be like,
I think people who date the good guy in some way have the best view on life after, though. This is my theory, okay? You might go and date like a shitty guy after, but you know what your solid base was at the beginning. It's not like you're always like toxic, and then you get a good guy and you
don't know what to do with it.
You don't know what to do with it, because you relate more to like love in toxic ways.
For sure.
You know? So you're gonna get yourself another good guy.
Yeah.
That's just more for you.
I totally agree, because
it's so fucked up to say it like that.
Up, but I totally agree, because I even spoke about that in the past, how like I'm grateful that my first relationship was with somebody who was like really, really unproblematic, and it like created my base for love to be like not based on a toxic thing. And I actually think, and you can disagree with me if you want, but I feel like the good guy relationship, that issue of being with somebody who's just too good and you don't actually have feelings for them, I think that happens often like when we're early on dating people, when we're younger, because you don't really know what you want yet. So somebody comes, like you're met with this like good guy who checks all the boxes off on paper. He's sweet, he takes care of you, but you don't have like the knowledge to know what you need, like what actually fuels your love. So you're going into like, oh, what a great guy, he does this, he's so caring, he's not a cheater, he's loyal, he's honest, he's all of the above, but you haven't learned yet what fuels your love. So you're going into it thinking, oh, he's the perfect guy, I'm gonna fall in love, and then you don't. You know what I mean? And I think that's a really like naive early on relationship thing to do, and then you don't have the experience to be able to like dissect what love is. And I think that was one of my issues. It was my first relationship, and I was like, well, what is love? Like, is this love? I really care and I really love him, but am I in love with him?
Right.
And I didn't have the previous experience to relate it to. So I was just like waiting on this, like, I don't know. I was just like, okay, I guess this is love. I guess this is what it is. Doesn't feel that powerful, but like I love him and I care about him.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's like really often something that happens to us when we're younger.
Yeah. Even when the older you get, you know, and you feel like you're lacking that thing that's never going to change and missing. But then life gets in the way. You either get a dog together, you move into a house together. I just want anyone who's listening to know that, like, there's never one big enough thing that is enough for you to have to stay. Your health, your happiness is like literally always number one. And you could have the most complicated relationship, marriage, anything. And if you're unhappy, then that is enough of a sign to do it, because yeah, you might deal with a bunch of shit and it's going to be awkward for a while and there's going to be a lot of things to sort out, but you'll be way happier. And it's just harder to see it at the beginning, but
for sure. And I think, like you said, there's no reason. If you feel unhappy, then that's enough of a reason.
Yeah, like I had a friend who was unhappy in a relationship, but she was staying because there was a pet involved. There was already so many things involved. But I'm like, you have actually one life. So what? You're going to stay for a dog? You're going to stay because you live together? Like, that's not enough of a reason. Like, this is your life you're talking about. This is every day waking up and being miserable.
Yeah.
So the good guy is not a good guy after, because the good guy could actually be with a girl who would appreciate it even more. So leave when it's time to leave.
For sure. But I will say that I'm very like I really understand the people who find it really hard to leave somebody once they have these like commitments together.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I only recently understood. Like, I could always be like, yeah, I get it. It's obviously going to be harder when you have a house, when you have a dog, when you have this.
Yeah.
But I was still more like, yeah, but just leave anyways. And I think now living with my boyfriend and like actually having commitments together in that sense,
yeah,
it really dawns on you how intertwined two lives can be and how different it is than just a breakup where you guys have completely separate lives. And the only thing that's together is your relationship. Like, I can't explain the difference because it's always something that you think about. You know what I mean? Like, you always... It's the way you just think now. It's like, I can imagine, let's say you buy a house with somebody.
Yeah, like it's different than me.
So much
let's
harder.
say for me with my ex-boyfriend, like,
yeah,
I never lived with him. I lived with him if I wanted to, and then I had my space. And like, I knew that if it didn't work out, I just grab my stuff, we move on, and that's it. There was no like thing holding us together. And I think sometimes when there is that thing holding you together, there's that much work being put into it.
For sure.
You know,
and
it's way easier to say I'm gonna leave and walk away when there's no commitment,
when there's only a suitcase to...
For sure. I didn't even have a suitcase.
you had an IGA bag.
Bags.
He actually threw it down from the... Catch, babe.
No, there was no babe, just catch.
Not even catch.
Not even catch. No warning.
But honestly, like, I do feel like I'm way more understanding of that situation now. And I can only imagine when you have these commitments. But what I will say that I realized is, and this is kind of like contradicting what I'm saying, but although I do agree that it's way harder to make the decision to break up, let's say,
it's harder to go with your everyday life.
Yeah, but it's just like, okay, let's say we have a house together, we break up, then it's like, okay, we have to go through everything, da 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 da, and then we get back together. Okay, now we have to buy a house, blah blah blah. Okay, and I just want to give you the example. My mom and my stepdad recently like decided to split up.
Shit, we're getting deep today.
It's like, Mom, am I allowed to say this story? You know what I mean?
We are only a week away from Christmas. Where the hell has this year gone?
Fucking down the drain, honestly.
Yeah.
If you're still looking for gift ideas, which you shouldn't be because, you know, we've basically shoved them down your throat, but another week and those last minuters, I'm looking at you because express shipping is our friend. And I'm going to tell you what you're going to be express shipping to your house. And the first thing is a Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 because it comes with everything your man, your dad, your stepdad, your sugar daddy, everything they need. You've got the weed whacker, you've got the lawnmower 4.0, which is an amazing ball raiser. You've got ball toners, ball preservers, and they've even just launched their shampoo and conditioner, their body wash. Pretty much, guys, Manscaped has everything you guys need.
So my brother actually used the new shampoo and he said it's amazing. It smells really good. It's amazing quality and it doesn't leave his hair like super like thin. It has like a lot of texture to it. So for all those guys who are, you know, losing hair because it starts becoming that time really soon for men.
Whether you're going to be including it as a stocking stuffer or just a gift under the tree, I think that Manscaped is honestly the best thing he's going to be unwrapping this year. Second to you.
Ooh, I like what you did there. Guys, use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off your entire order off Manscaped and free shipping. Guys, we know that when it comes to Christmas, there's more than just that dad. There's more than just that boyfriend. Thank God I don't have a boyfriend this year. I don't feel like getting him a gift. Saving money this year. And everyone could use it. So when you're going to checkout, just do ×5 and use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. If you order now, you probably don't even need to do express shipping. You'll probably still get it on time.
So next, if you got a funky person in your life or just somebody that's like really, really cool.
Or even somebody who's boring and they need spice in their life.
True. You should be getting them a custom neon sign from Neonific. You can get any color or size you want. You can get it to say whatever you want. And I'm sure that they will totally appreciate this gift because it's definitely just a unique one, I would say.
Yes, guys. So Neonific are custom-made neon signs that you can put anywhere. We have one that says Chemical X, and that's a custom-made sign for us. We got it to say what we wanted, the color we wanted, and you can do the same thing for anything you want, or you can get ones that are already pre-made. Use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 10% off your order on Neonific and free shipping. Chemical X at checkout for 10% off being lit this year.
Honestly, there's nothing hotter than a man in a tailored suit that is made for him. And the holidays are coming up, so if you're looking for something to show up and show out on Christmas or New Year's, you need to check out Izotti. They are an Italian-based, custom-made, bespoke suit brand, and you can find that unique, amazing, tailored-to-you suit. So you should really go ahead and check them out. And also, we have a very special discount code for you.
I mean, we love custom. So if you can customize your suit to be the exact measurements you want and the exact style you want, then why the hell not? No one's going to have it. It's going to be one for one, you know? So guys, use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off your first suit.
My mom and my stepdad recently decided to split up, and I'm at the point now where it doesn't affect me. So I'm just like, whatever. And they obviously lived together. They owned a condo together. And then they went through the whole process of selling. Each of them got their new condo. They both went on with their separate lives. And that was like a whole process, guys. Like, there's a lot involved in doing that.
Yeah.
And then what's nice is that, what's nice? They eventually decided, you know what, actually, in this split, we realized that we actually really do want to be together. And like, this was the wrong decision. And then now they're buying a house together again and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's crazy to think that, yeah, we think commitments will hold us down so much. But then look, my stepdad and my mom, who were married for I don't know how many years, went through this whole thing. And then there's always another way. You know what I mean? It wasn't an end to all means just because, okay, they said the divorce, but now they're back together and now they're happy. And maybe it took that for them to realize that, you know what I mean? But it's just to say like a house, a condo, a dog.
These are all just things.
Things that can be dealt with. And you know what? If you got to break up and you got to sell the fucking condo, do it. And if you get back together and you have to buy a new one, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not the easiest route, but it's a possibility. And I also think if you're, especially like for us, we're young, we're just starting to get these little commitments of like, okay, we move in with our boyfriend, let's say, or we get a dog together. I promise you, if the dog is what's stopping you from breaking up, when you guys are married, when you guys have kids, that's going to be even harder to then decide you're done with the relationship. If you're unhappy now and the only thing stopping you is a dog, I promise you, leave. Because it's only going to be bigger commitments. It's only going to be bigger things that are going to tie you down. And then when you have a kid together, that's the kind of commitment that you can't just pack up and walk away.
It's so crazy because even when I was with my ex-boyfriend, I would always be like, we're in COVID. I'm like, I really want a dog. I really want a dog. And I knew deep down the answer was never to get a dog because that would just complicate things. And I think that's where he was a little more clear. He's like, eventually. And I'd be like, why? Like, why can't we get a dog? And sometimes we make decisions on impulse because we want that fix in the moment. But looking back, afterwards, I'm like, thank God I didn't get attached to that dog because I would be like everyone else where I'd be like, I want the dog.
For sure. It's only normal. But at the end of the day, like I'm saying, it's going to be a dog, but one day it's going to be marriage. And it's a lot harder to leave a marriage than to break up and split custody on a dog. So you just gotta like realize if you're unhappy now, do it before the commitments become even bigger or your lives become more intertwined. I think people kind of like wait it out and like, okay, maybe it'll work, but it's actually just gonna get worse. So keep that in mind. But like, I just do think like I can really feel for people that have to make that big decision when there's so much on the line. It's really hard. Yeah. I can't imagine.
And also when you're going through that stage, I think a lot of the times you exclude yourself from a lot of people because you feel like nobody else will get you or because everyone thinks, well, you're with the good guy. What do you mean? What are you talking about? So it makes it even harder to talk to people about it. And you're not going to talk to somebody about it until you finally decide to make the decision because you don't want to bash somebody that after you're going to have to be like, well, wait, all that shit I spoke about them. Well, it turns out we're not selling the house or we're not getting the divorce or we're not breaking up. So I don't know. I just want anyone who's going through it to know that like, if you're either the friend, just be there to listen. If you're the person going through it, then speak to somebody you feel comfortable with, but don't keep it inside. And there's always somebody that's like there to be there for you. You know?
I think now where we are now in our lives, like it's obviously changed a lot because I find when I was younger, we would often like talk shit about our boyfriends or like talk about all the problems that were going on. And like we've spoken about in the past, like that makes your friends almost like not like your boyfriend. And then it creates this like, you know what I mean? Then it's like, how do you want your friends to like your boyfriends? You're shit talking them every week. You're telling them all the bad shit.
Even last week when we had Mitko on and we kind of spoke about like me having an ex-boyfriend and like the whole like disagreement, I think it was really raw and like you saw both sides of it. And I got a lot of messages from girls who were like, I'm going through the same thing right now. And like it's never easy.
It's never easy. But I think the older you get, the more you start to keep your relationship private because the relationships tend to get more serious and you don't want to start saying like how much you don't like your boyfriend and then you end up marrying him. You know what I mean? Because then everyone at the wedding is going, liar. You know what I mean? Liar. You're saying your vows and they're going, not true.
Yeah. I even think about now when I ever date somebody again, like I think I'm not going to be so... I think I would handle it a lot differently, which is really weird. I could never have that guy who I can't bring around my friends. I know I have a lot of friends who like don't bring their friends around for whatever reasons or things that they don't want the outside people to see. But I really need... For me, it's really important I get that guy who gets along with all my friends. And I think it would be like almost like a test at the beginning, you know? I want everyone to get along. And I know that's not always the case, but I think my intimate circle needs to get along with my boyfriend.
Yeah. I think that's something I really learned too.
Yeah.
Because I always like dated, not to say that I always dated people, but like in the past I've dated people who weren't really like a good mix in my group. And I hated that. Like it was really something that I realized was a priority for me, was somebody that gets along with my friends and that wants to go out and that's like can chill with us, because I don't want to have to make that like decision of like, okay, I'm bringing him and then it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I want somebody that I can bring around and is a good time.
When I do get a boyfriend, I don't think I'm gonna be as like, I don't think I'm gonna publicize it again like I did. Is that weird to say? I think I'm saying that now because I'm single. I'm getting that hot boyfriend and I'm going to want to show him off.
Yeah, shut up.
But I think I'm going to be a lot more like careful.
Okay. You're gonna wait a little longer.
I'm gonna wait a lot longer. When I first dated my ex-boyfriend, I kind of was so excited. I posted him right away. I don't know. I think I want to just be more selective, you know? Not to say my friends and everybody won't meet him, but like, I'm not going to go post that social media post right away. I'm really going to like, I don't know. I guess it's growing up. I don't know.
I know what you mean though, because I feel like in my relationship now, well, I've always been a kind of like weirdly private person. Like I always talk about how I'm like really open, but also really private.
Yeah, but you can be open and choose what you want to be private.
So I'm like that. And I always said, like, I knew my relationship was special and I didn't want to promote it in the way of like, look at us, we're so in love, da da da. And like, I would really often like not post things, like not show off so much, because I almost felt like when you do that, I know this is going to sound really weird, but I feel like people put bad vibes on you. And I feel when you meet somebody and you have a special connection, you almost don't want that like outsider view into your relationship. And that's why I don't so much, like, even though I still do it and I talk about it all the time on the podcast, but more like social media wise, like I'm not that person who's every day like, I love my boyfriend.
Well, I also feel like people who do that every day are normally the ones who are having the most issues with their relationship.
Exactly.
But you could not also. It depends.
Yeah, I mean, every situation is differently, but for me, it's like I don't need to prove to anyone that I'm in love with my boyfriend and that we're happy. And I think that's the best thing, because once you don't have to like constantly sell this image, I think once you keep trying to prove that you're happy, that's where it starts going downhill, you know? And I just feel like for me, I really almost kept this one a little bit more like, I'm open about talking about a relationship and everything, but I don't feed it down people's throats of like, whoa, we're the perfect couple, because then I just feel like it's bad vibes.
Yeah.
It's bad vibes, and I don't need that, like, I don't need to be like upheld to this perfect couple thing either, because then people expect you to not have issues. They expect you like all this shit, you know? And I look at some influencers who make their whole brand their relationship, and I go, that's a bad idea. Yeah. Because what happens on the day you're fighting and you guys have to pretend like you're in love because that's your whole brand, you know?
I just hate that though, like people who feel like they need to show everything that's amazing. Even the most perfect relationships have issues. Like it's just what it is. And I hate people who like feel like they need to show only the good. It's so annoying and I don't know, aggravating a bit.
And like you said, I
think it makes people feel like, fuck, my relationship shit then.
Sure. And like you said, honestly, I want to say 80% of the time, the people who are like promoting so much their perfect relationship are probably unhappy. That's just what it is, because they have to keep proving to everyone they have such a good relationship because they need to prove it to themselves, you know? But you see it all the time, like these influencers who are like, you know, in these perfect happy relationships, and then 6 months later they're like, yeah, he was fucking abusive. You know what I mean? And you're like, whoa, like I was here thinking you guys were match made in heaven. Yeah. It's really crazy what
social media will do.
And I want to mention, we were talking about this the other day, the whole like Hailey Bieber, Selena, Justin Bieber thing, I just find is so fucked up. So I'm sure you guys know, but if anybody doesn't know, basically the internet is bullying Hailey Bieber because no reason. They just think that Justin hates her, he doesn't love her, and he's a better match with Selena. But I can't imagine if I had all of the world telling my boyfriend that he was better with his ex of when he was 16. Yeah. Like imagine you're going out and people are yelling the ex-girlfriend's name.
As sure as you can be in your relationship, I think any outside noise from anyone is still gonna like cloud your judgment.
And I see people making all these edits of Selena and Justin and tagging Hailey Bieber of like them pictures of them kissing, and I'm just like, that's bullying. Like I can't imagine being bullied by the world about something, and that's the perfect thing. It really gets in your mind. Like if I was her, I would be like, wait, is he still in love with Selena? Like, am I missing something? Is everyone seeing something that I'm not seeing? Yeah. I just can't imagine being in her shoes. I think it's really deep, and people could say what they want. Oh, she's famous, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. That shit will affect you.
I have this really random story. I want to say it. When I was in London, and I know it's a little bit off topic, but I just had to bring it up because I was just like, this is crazy. So in London, or like, I guess English people in general, they're more straight up. Like if they have a question to ask, they'll ask. I think here in Montreal or like Canadians, we're a lot more like respectful, and we're like, wait, we can't ask that. It's rude. And one thing is height. I was going on a date with a guy, and I really wanted to know like what his height was, but for me, I'm like, whatever it is, I'm gonna meet him, and you know, like it's not gonna be an issue. And when I was chilling with the guy you guys met last week, Mitko, and the guy he was talking to, we were all together, and he was like, well, just before you go on your date, just write to him and be like, how tall are you? And I was like, there's no way. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, because, like, I'm going on this date either way. I'm not going to ask that. Ruin the vibe. He's like, no, it's fine. You can ask that. Like, it's normal. And I'm like, I'm not asking that. Guys, I'm in my Uber going, and he literally asks me that. I'm like, no fucking way. I screenshot and sent it to him. I'm like, hey, guys, you were right. Like, I guess I could have asked.
Well, it's also like, what if you gave the wrong answer, turn the Uber around?
Yeah. He's like, so if you don't mind me asking, like, how tall are you? Like, just so that I know when you're coming through the door. I'm like, shut the fuck
Shut up.
And I don't think
when you could see 3 inches
I
from
don't
afar.
think, first of all, any tall guy is ever going to ask a girl how tall are you, you know? And beginning, he was like, just wear comfortable shoes, like with the bricks. I don't want you to trip. I was like, okay.
Red flag.
You're clearly short, and I already know that. So now I was like, okay, wait, that's why I was like, maybe I should ask. Like, clearly that's the reasoning. Anyway, so I write to him. He's like, oh, 5'7". That's not tall at all. I'm like, oh, okay, like, how tall are you? He's like 5'9". I'm like, yes, okay, beautiful. In a perfect world, 5'9's great for me, you know? So I'm like, oh, okay, phew. So we're on the date and we're talking, and he looks 5'9", whatever. We're sitting, we're drinking on cocktails. And then we get up and I'm like, fucking liar. Like,
no,
you liar. You don't lie about your height when you're going to get up.
And also not if you're 5'7", because you could easily do this.
But I'm just like, are you kidding me? And I remember being like, honestly, just for that, turn off.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Just own the fact that you're 5'7", like me. Why do you have to, like, you know? Anyway, I was just like so fucking weird, and I just had to share that because I'm like, guys, literally, it's one thing to lie about your height a little bit on, you know, a dating app, but to send a message to a girl and be like, to even bring her down and be like 5'7", that's nothing, and then you're
that's
actually
not tall.
5'6".
Well, just screenshot and send it back to him and be like, well, babe, I guess it's not tall for you either.
Later on in the night, after we went for drinks, we met up with Mitko and the guy he was with, and we were all taking drinks together. And because the other guy Mitko was with knew already the background, I didn't even have to tell him. He goes up to him and he's like, you're not 5'9", you liar. Like, he literally was like, straight up. I'm not gonna do it, but if you will,
I'll stand behind you.
fucking go for it. And he was just smirking like, no, liar.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just because like some girls can be like really picky about a guy's height and like maybe won't come on the date if they find out they're the same height or whatever.
Right.
But also like you're going anyway, like just don't lie because you actually look like a liar now and you look like a loser.
Yeah.
If you were going to do that, say it earlier where the date is not planned already. You know what I mean? Where you still have a chance to get out
like
of it.
weird time to ask me when I'm already in the Uber.
Babe,
I
wear
guess there's no
flats.
turning back. He probably
You should have
thinks.
known after wear flats. He's under 5'8".
Oh, I knew.
But wait, can I ask you a question? Would you care if a guy is shorter than you?
I think now I really just want a guy that's taller than me. Is that bad to say? Is that like too much to ask for?
I mean, no. Guys say I want big tits, small waist, big ass, long
True.
hair, no
So
mustache.
true. We have our requirements, but I think like
We're like be tall and take a shower.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
I
Too
mean, look,
much.
it's hard to say. If I meet a guy that has all the things and he has like my height, I'll deal with it, you know? But anything under my height, I'm sorry. I just can't. I literally can't. I can't. I like to wear heels. I like to dress up. Like, it's hard.
I guess it depends the person. Like, sometimes I see couples, like, when the girlfriend is taller and, like, I actually find it, like, nice. Like, it's, like, actually fun. I always...
Well, because confident guys, actually, some of them like the idea of, like, being that short guy with a really tall girl because it's like, I got that girl, you know? Like, it's like a power feel.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys who are insecure are going to feel like, no, like, she's overpowering me.
For sure. One of my best friends in Australia, she's 5'9", very tall. Like, she would wear heels. She'd be 6'1", you know? And I'm not joking you. There was so many short guys who were obsessed with her. Like, you wouldn't believe how many guys want a tall girl. But she's there like, no, like, I actually want someone taller than me. But I have all these 5'6" guys who are on their knee ready to marry me. But personally, I think it's, like, cute. Like, I don't really have a problem. I've dated somebody who was, like, the same height or shorter than me. Like I'm personally, I'm not the person, because I know some people are like, don't talk to me unless you're 6'1".
Yeah.
Like I'm like, whoa, like babe, you're 5'2". Like leave the 6'1" guys to the girls who are 5'6" and up. You know what I mean? Don't be fucking greedy.
Feed the needy.
You have inches. You get to be with like the medium sized guys. You know what I mean? Like leave the really tall guys for the girls, you know, who are over 5'6".
Honestly, there's somebody for everyone, because I do know of guys who like are into like short girls too. Like they like that petite, small bone like chick. So there's really everybody. There's somebody for everyone.
For sure.
Yeah.
1,000%. I always said that, and sometimes you just really realize it though, when I think we pressure ourselves too much to like adhere to everyone. Does that make sense? Like we want everyone to find us pretty, everyone to be attracted to us, everyone to want to date us, but at the end of the day, some people, you know, they just fucking don't like blondes. And what do? I go to the salon.
Yeah, I feel awkward to even say like I want a tall guy, but it's like I want a tall guy.
No, I don't find it bad. A lot of girls say that.
But I know, but like we always have to feel like we have to be sensitive to like men who might be a little shorter or whatever.
I find that funny because guys are there saying, I want
everything.
C cup and over.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and we're here being like, I mean, be ugly, but, you know, you could reach the cabinet over the fridge. That's all I'm asking for. The other day, I went to change my tires. And I got ridiculously overcharged, by the way, guys. I called my boyfriend. I'm like, babe, how much is a tire change supposed to cost? He's like, about 80, not more than 100 for sure. I said, okay. I get to the cash. He goes, 190. I was like, and you're at the point now where the tires are on the car. You don't start negotiating.
There's no negotiating.
So I said, you take cash, and I paid for it. And I got in the car and I started crying, you know what I mean? So I started crying, and I was sitting in my car, and I'm like, am I crying because I just got overcharged, or am I crying because I just got my period? Like, no joke. I was like, am I that upset that I paid $100 more? Like, I
think you would still cry about
it. Yeah, I was like thinking about, I'm like, you know what? I think this is justifiable. Because I always do that. I always have my crying day on my period, because I'm not really a crier. And then I'm like, would I cry about this if I wasn't gushing blood? And I'm going to be honest, the extra $100 on the tires, I think so. I think I would be crying.
So it's so weird, but I'm really sensitive like before I even get my period. Like when I'm on my period, I'm just like in pain and like I just want to eat the fridge, you know? Okay. But before is really like I'm emotional, I would say. Like everything is like personal. Everything feels like an attack. Everyone in the room right now is going, yep. My ex-boyfriend would always say like, he would literally justify like if I was going crazy, he'd be like, oh, okay, that's why. Like it literally became my branding that it's like, okay, we just don't like speak to you when you're like.
I'm gonna be honest though, he's allowed, because I know how you are when you're getting your period.
Wow.
But also when somebody says you're getting your period, you're like, that's not why. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, because your hormones are fucking going crazy.
You're like, don't you dare blame this on my period, even if it is.
Do you like having sex on your period?
No.
Like straight up, like no.
Like,
so we say that like girls are horniest on our periods, but you don't like the mess.
I mean, there's just a lot of reasons. Like I've done it, and the only time that I've enjoyed it would be with my boyfriend now, because like I'm the most comfortable. Like I feel really comfortable with him to do that, and that was always my biggest problem, was like I don't feel comfortable. But I think even though I feel comfortable, I just don't feel my sexiest, because I just like to feel good. I like to feel sexy. I like to
feel
be like
bloated too.
Yeah, I just feel bloated, and I just feel like a bit more like like nervous. And even no matter how comfortable he makes me, I just don't feel my sexiest. And because we live together and I could just reschedule this, you know, whenever I want, I'm like, babe, you know what? We're gonna wait until I'm not fucking, you know, birthing. And also like, don't talk to me on day 3. Like, I'll have sex when it's like
brownish.
You know what I mean? Like I'll have sex like the first day or the last day. Like don't call me when it's like, you know, we need a bucket.
So I actually had sex on my period a lot of times. I don't know if you did the whole towel trick, but it's like pull out. It's just, it feels good, yes, and like I'm pretty comfortable with it. I think it's just like I don't like anything that's too planned.
Yeah.
And when it comes to having sex on your period, like either way, it's planned. You know,
like I have white sheets, you know, you can't start saying
you're putting
"Let's
the
be fun."
towel and you're not moving positions. It's like, it's more starfish style. It's not as like, let me hop on your dick
Young,
and like,
wild, and free.
yeah. So I think in that way, like, it's like you feel a little more restricted. Like you feel like, I'm not going to move so much. So that I get, but it's definitely very lubed up when you're having sex on your period. There's that natural lubrication.
You know, blood. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you. I'm joking.
Did you ever lie to a guy and say, like, I have my period just because you didn't want to have sex with them?
1,000,000,000%. So there was a time where things were not going well with my ex-boyfriend. We'll just leave it at that.
Like, we're lucky as girls. We go through so much pain, but like, I think
excuses, though.
That's not one thing like we get to use. I love that card, you know?
Yeah. I also think, like, if my boyfriend ever says no to sex, it's like, why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't get excuses, babe.
I get them.
So, so there was a time with my ex where things were, you know, on their way out. And it's always like that when you're about to, like, when the relationship is ending, you guys are not having sex. Like, it starts being really long times in between because you're just so much resentment. There's no, like, attraction. There's so many things going wrong.
Yep.
And also during that period, I was having problems with my pill. So I would get my period for like 3 weeks out of the month. Okay. Like, it was like I was just constantly on my period, no matter what, you know, and this was happening for like 2 months. So, you know, when the period card is being used 3 times a week for a month, he's going, I'm going to be honest, babe, like,
you're making it easy for me to cheat.
Yeah. But he was like, you're lying. He was like, well, no. And then he would start like fighting with me and he will be like, well, no, you said that last week. And I was like, no, but like, there's a problem. He's like, I don't believe you. Like,
show me.
Yeah.
Pull down your pants.
It was literally to that point. He was like, no, I looked and there was no tampon in the, and I was like,
at this point, were you like?
No, but it was just like, it was the type of thing, like, I wasn't fully on my period, but I was like bleeding, I was spotting, and I didn't want to have sex because
right, but what do we always say? If you want to do something, you'll find the time for it, you'll do it, and Veronica did not want to do it.
I did not want to do it, so it was a really convenient excuse, but he was not buying it. But it was almost like I'm actually telling the truth, like, yeah, I'm using it as an excuse, but I'm also telling the truth. But he wasn't believing. He was like, show me. And I was like, no. And he was like, well, I don't believe you. There's no way you could have your period for 3 weeks. I was like, well, you know what I mean? And it's just
so you never pulled out your pants and been like,
Allah, what do you want me to do? Look, with the middle finger too. So yeah, so that happened. But you know what? I don't blame him. I would have been like that too, babe. Show me. Can't have sex. What, your dick's not getting hard? Show me it's not getting hard. Let's see. Like, well, babe, it's not bleeding right now, but like, give me a day. Did you ever have a yeast infection?
No, never.
Never?
No, but I've literally had friends who like have been in pain, crying, and like they just like their pee was burning all the time.
But do you get like UTIs or is this a doctor's appointment?
No, I honestly, I feel like I've had so many issues, but like that was never one.
Lift your legs. Let me just open up.
But I do hear that if you do get it, it's kind of like sometimes it comes back frequently.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of people that get it like reoccurring. Like for one, I used to get UTIs all the time, only with specific people. And it was coming to the point though where it's like, babe, like maybe you should get yourself checked out. Like I'm on antibiotics every fucking 2 weeks because I'm getting a UTI and I'm a little pissed now. Like maybe you should go get your dick swabbed. So yeah, I used to be really prone to UTIs, but now suddenly I guess this is what happens when you find your husband because I don't get UTIs anymore. That's my telltale. My doctor's going, perfect, no UTI in 2 years. Great match. Do you feel like maybe that could be, and I know this is off topic of what I'm saying, but do you feel like sometimes that could be a sign that you're not meant for somebody? Like your bodies don't
collide,
react together? I think that's a stretch of a thing.
That's a stretch.
Well, they do say like pheromones, you know, like the
no
smell
way,
of
like
your
it's
skin.
actually a thing.
So if somebody really likes the smell of your pheromones, like you're really attracted to the smell of somebody's pheromones, it means that genetically you guys are really compatible, as in like you guys will probably have like the like good babies. Like it's like it's like a primal like instinct.
Okay.
So when you like the way their skin smells, it's because you guys would mix well, like your genetics.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Very
So I'm
interesting.
like, maybe it ties down to, you know, which dick is giving you a fucking yeast infection.
Maybe you should check that relationship out.
If you get more than 2 yeast infections a month, maybe you should consider breaking up with your boyfriend. So yeah, I used to get UTIs all the time, which were the fucking worst. And one time I got a yeast infection and I like didn't know what it was. I was like, what the fuck? This is horrible. Like the most uncomfortable thing I ever experienced in my life. And I like Googling it and I'm like, can you pass this on? And one time I actually ended up getting a yeast infection. I didn't know what it was. Anyways, I self-diagnosed myself, as we do. Went to the pharmacy, and this was like right before Valentine's Day. My first Valentine's with a boyfriend. So I was ready. I had the red lingerie. I was ready to go. But
We did the whole 5 9
I did the whole rose petals on the bed, you know?
Oh, God.
And a yeast infection wasn't part of the plan, gonna be honest. And I go to the pharmacy and it's like 7-day treatment. And I'm like, babe, I only got 5 days. So how does this work? So I take the express pill and you basically shove a pill up your pussy. And I'm like, easy peasy, you know?
One day.
What you don't see, you know, you don't know.
Yeah.
So, hoping it's one day. But then I read the box and it's like, you could be like having basically what the pill is, it like comes out.
It releases like kind of like that chalk.
Yeah, it releases like this like chalk like substance. Okay, so I'm like, okay, no worries, I'll be good by Valentine's Day. Big misunderstanding because I looked like a kindergarten school was coming out of my pussy because there was just chalk and it wasn't stopping. Like I was like, this pill is small. This pill was small. How could so much chalk be coming out of this pill? And I was shook.
And let me tell you, you were not in class.
I was not in class. School was not in session. I did dress up as a schoolgirl for Valentine's Day, but, you know, fitting. Anyways, but it was the most traumatizing thing of my life. And I never got a yeast infection again. But I just want to say, like,
Yeah, because
to
the
my
pill is
girlies
still
that-
in your fucking pussy.
Yeah, I'm still, you know, bleeding chalk. To my girlies that do get yeast infections, what the fuck? Like, I was just so worried that it was going to be Valentine's Day.
That's like
and my
the
boyfriend was gonna
prime
be
example of like trying to do something so fast that you end up getting more fucked over.
You always get more fucked over. Always.
Always.
But I was just like, what happens when it's Valentine's Day? And he's like, babe, you put lube, crusty lube already inside you? White, chalky lube? What's going on here?
I'm gonna be honest, already being a girl, there's like so many things that can like happen down there. Discharge. It's really like guys have it fucking easy.
Hate them, man. Fuck.
I know.
Anyway,
I guess
shout
we'll
out to
leave
not
it.
getting yeast infections.
We'll leave it on a chalk note. Ew, that was so bad.
Anyway. Honestly, thank you so much, guys.
What you could learn from this episode is
Nipple piercings, fucking chalk pussy, period sex, break up with a good guy.
Yeah. Like what? And you don't have to break up with the good guy if
If he doesn't give you
if
a
your
UTI,
pH is like, you know, balanced.
then the relationship is balanced.
So don't judge your relationship based on whether it's toxic and all the issues it's having. Judge it on, you know,
pH.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what your favorite part was. And don't forget to rate us 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes. We love you.